The U.S. presidential race was completely shook up this week as pro-crypto candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has suspended his campaign and thrown his support behind Trump. We've discovered that 3 Puerto Ricans may be responsible for red-pilling Trump on Bitcoin, and Telegram's CEO Pavel Durov was arrested in France. Ooh la la. These are challenging times with the state of the world teetering on the head of a pin. We're glad that you're here to join us as we either celebrate the return of Western civilization or mourn the coming communist hellscape. Sir Lord Travis and I are your Sherpa Derpas for this bad news, episode number 740 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Hello, Sir Lord Travis. Speaking of Sherpas, I was watching a video on the YouTubes this week about Mount Everest, and there are so many people trying to climb it right now. There's actually lines because there's only certain times you can go, and there's too many people going up, and more people are dying up there because they're Sherpa derping too many climbers.
There's not enough Sherpa Derpas?
Well, no, there's too many people that are trying to do it at one time.
Well, there's too many people, then there's probably not enough good Sherpa Derpas.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only, you can only go this one way. And so people are waiting in line at certain points, and it's dangerous and it's cold, and
Right.
it's scary. So anyway,
I guess people got that all on the bucket list. Like, I got to climb Mount Everest to be a man or be a woman.
that is a hell no from me. Welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious and the crypto serious. Sir Lord Travis Wright and Sir Lord Joel Comm. We are here to give you the latest news that we think is useful. So,
Dude, I gotta say, so we're both in different locations and we're recording at a different time of day than we normally do. So Joel's in an undisclosed bunker in Florida.
yeah.
I am in Bali currently, and it is 8 in the morning my time. Is it 8 in the evening your time?
Yeah, 8 in the evening.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is that I got to watch the Kansas City Royals game over here, and Salvador Perez just hit a grand slam, and dude, the Royals lost 106 games last year, and now they're like half a game behind first place right now, which is late August, which is so crazy. So I think for the very first time in bad crypto history, the Royals have been good. So I'll let that know.
You're right. You
Dude,
got
I got the Royals and the Chiefs now, dude. This is not fair.
I know. Your nose is red. You got some sunshine.
Dude, I got serious sunshine yesterday, dude. Big time.
Yeah. Well, let's timestamp this, recording this the evening for me of Monday, August 26th. That is 8:24 p.m. Eastern Standard of Time, and the crypto market cap right now is sitting at let's see, where is it? I can't find it on my screen. There it is. It is 2.3 trillion, up from last week, with Bitcoin at 62,892. It went all the way to 64. Ethereum is 2685, BNB 549, Solana 157, XRP 58.8 cents, Dogecoin 10.5 cents, and Tron 16 cents. Number 11 is Toncoin. We're going to talk about Telegram. Dropped 24% this week because of Pavel Durov's arrest, and we'll get to that story shortly. Let's take a look at the big winners, Trav. What do we got going on here?
Big winners of the last week. There's a few that's been popping off. There's one. So Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, FET, which was they renamed themselves from something else, up 46%. Render up 36%, both of which are AI projects. We got a little meme coin up there, a couple of them. Floki up 28%, Dog with Hat up about 25%, Immutable X about 25%, Sats 25%, SEI up 25%. There's been some other ones, Avalanche, big things going on over there, 23%.
Really, with the exception With the exception of Ton Coin and Not Coin, pretty much an up week for the cryptos,
Yeah.
giving people some hope. And in fact, if we look at the fear and greed index, it is up from last week significantly. It was 26 fear. We are now in 48 fear, but yesterday was 55 greed. So we're crossing over that halfway mark, and everything that I'm reading from the people who think that they know and understand this 4-year cycle clearly is that we are between 50 and 90 days from things going ba-boom, which again puts us where? Into late October or November, exactly as we've been saying all along.
Yeah.
There's nothing different.
Well, it's really weird though, because this cycle right here, I could never predict and call this a super cycle getting ready to pop, because Lord knows what kind of black swans are going to happen over the course of September, October, November, and then depending on who wins, what kind of crazy stuff happens in December and January.
Mhm.
I mean, it could either go boom or it could go kaput. I mean, it's just
Well,
weird. We don't know what's going to happen.
the real question is how much does Bitcoin care? How newsproof? I think in short term, anytime there's something big that happens, people sell immediately, right? But
Yeah.
Bitcoin proved to be really resilient during during COVID, during a lot of the big news that happened during
Yeah.
COVID. During
It
not
took that big initial first big dump,
right.
and then it went, but because it made it all the way down to 3,800, which hindsight 2020,
No,
great time for
15,000.
buys. Huh?
15,000. It didn't get to 3,800, it went to 15,000.
No. I'm talking about in COVID times.
Yeah, it
March of 2020 in COVID, yeah,
oh,
it popped
yeah,
down 3,800, and
yeah,
then it had some nice resilience. This bull run, it only went down about 15, 16,000. Yeah, but
yeah.
this wasn't related to COVID. This was its own thing.
Well, the big news this week is really big news. Uh, Robert Kennedy Jr. was consistently getting 4 to 5% of the vote in polls, and people think that it's largely independents that were, swaying that way. And he looked at the landscape here, said that there's no clear path to victory for him this time, and that while he was staying on the ballot in states where voting for him wouldn't make a difference, that he was dropping off the ballot in, I think it's 11 states where being on the ballot could impact the election, and said you need to vote for Trump because if you vote for Kamala Harris, we're screwed. We're going
Yeah,
communist in the United States of America.
yeah.
And I hope
Well,
people
yeah.
see this now.
Mhm. Well, they were talking about this is how fragile our democracy really is.
We
This
don't
is
have
a
a
republic,
democracy. We have a
or
republic.
yeah, a republic democracy. Um, 10 battleground states, and in those 10 battleground states, there's like maybe 15 counties that are really going to determine the overall flow of who wins out of all of these precincts. I think I heard there's 175,000 voting precincts, and 15 counties are probably the areas that are the most important in swaying the election, which is crazy when you think about it. But then people go, "Oh, we want to have it so all votes matter. They want to accumulate all the votes." Well, then only California matters, right?
Right. Let's
It's
just
California and New York matter the most in those cases, because I don't know. It's just weird. I read this. This is a conspiratorial thing. So uh, Jeff Bezos is loaning all of these unstocked warehouses to the federal government over these next couple of months. And I was like, why is he doing that? That's weird. Like, what?
mm,
Why is he doing that? What would you want to store? What would the federal government want to store over these next couple of months in these warehouses?
yeah.
Don't.
Things that make you go, hmm. Well, the Bitcoin market responded positively to this because Trump is the only one who's come out and said that he is pro Bitcoin. And also
Well, and RFK also. So that's another sort of
right.
a good sign that both of them are on the same team now.
I mean, I guess we need to mention too that a lot of RFK's speech was an impassioned plea for the health, the future of our children, because he gave stats on obesity and disease amongst the youth in our country. And the Department of Health and Human Services needs to clean up how we treat food in this country. And I guarantee that the execs at Monsanto and ConAgra and these other big food organizations and big pharma had to be crap. I bet phones were going off and people were like, we need to have an emergency meeting. We need to, plan contingency. Like, how are we going to change what we're doing if these guys get in and say, you can't sell any food that has these particular additives anymore, which is a lot of the garbage, the addictive food that is in the center of all of our grocery stores.
Yeah. Now, I became first familiar with the corruption of that. So it was Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld was the CEO of a company called Searle, S-E, or maybe Surly, I don't remember, Searle, and they created aspartame or something, right? Or they created Linda, something like that. And then he ended up leaving and going to work for, I think he went to the FDA. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've done research on this one, but it's just that sort of incestual nature of CEOs going to the regulatory agencies that then make the rules for the industries that they just left. And I think what needs to happen is, like, there needs to be a 5-year window or something. Like, you can't be a major executive at one of these companies and then go and run the federal agency that governs that industry, because that's where we get into problems where it's like, oh yeah, it's not it's the reason the sugar industry became so big, right? And it's the reason why margarine is a thing so much, because you bring these certain people from certain industries into the regulation, and then they say, oh, this is bad or this is good, and then, like, they create reports, they do research reports, they leave out a bunch of information, they show only what's only advantageous. Oh, sugar's great for you. Oh, smoking tobacco is great for you, right? And so it's just wild how incestuous it is, Joel. And I think that's part of the biggest problems when you have lobbyists jumping to regulatory places and then back and forth. I mean, Dick Cheney did that shit too when he was running Halliburton, right? And then next thing you know, he's running and he's managing all these government contracts, and like, that's not good. You can't do that. That's not freedom. That's crony capitalism right there.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Thank you very much. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, we really are teetering on the head of a pin, and I think that more and more people are seeing it. I don't believe the polls at all. I do believe that there's a lot of ignorant people that just don't understand that if they vote for Harris, that they are shooting themselves and their children in the foot, that they are voting against their own best interests. And if you think things are bad now, if you think grocery prices are bad now, go vote for the Democrats and then come crying in a couple of years from now, because you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, it's really crazy. Like, they want to do the price controls on there. It's like,
that's it.
Straight up communist price control. We will put price control on food so you can get food for a certain price. Well, guess what? Companies are going to go, okay, well, this is not profitable for me to do business. We're just going to close shop. And then what happens when there's no business doing anything? And then what's going to happen when we print too much money? And then all those all those people we owe that money to start saying, hey, we need to be paid. Right now, we're getting to a point where, what is it? Every 3 months, we got $1 trillion in interest due or something stupid like that. And then we're overspending that as it is. So it's just crazy to think about where we are and how we got here. And I think a lot. So I saw a statistic the other day that said that it's like over 70% of the Democrats still trust mainstream media, right? And Republicans are like 20 something percent that trust mainstream media. 13%. And so you look at that and you go, okay, that's the reason why we're bamboozled, is because a lot of the people on the left, I don't know, it's that they're just not critical thinkers, or they've just been, they think they're very intelligent, right? They think they got it all figured out, and they're very self-righteous about what they think they believe. But it's interesting because how can you believe a lot of what the media says at this point? Like, it's been proven time and time again. It just shows you are willing ignorance is what it is at this point.
Here's how you know that when Kennedy gave this speech, and it was one of the most important speeches of our lifetime, it was so good, so impassioned, so logical.
It was not long. It was about
10
an hour.
long. No, it was about an hour. You're thinking of the wrong
That
speech.
main speech. Oh, his
Yeah.
full speech,
So
not the one when he was on with Trump. Yeah.
so it was so impassioned that if you haven't heard the whole thing, it's because you were watching CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, or NBC because they cut it off way early. In fact, they cut it off, many of them around the time that he started lambasting the media. And if you look
Right.
at all the articles that came out, none of them mentioned the media corruption that he put out there and that they are in the
Yeah.
pocket of
Wow.
the Democrat Party. And
Yeah.
if you're still voting Democrat, you're probably not listening to the show anymore. We probably chased off and they should come back and listen because we were right then and we're right now. And it's not that we're so smart, it's that we can read the writing on the wall. And
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, if you go back and listen to the rest of that speech for yourself, then ask yourself, why would they cut this off? This was
Yeah. Even
historical. This was
Fox News
groundbreaking.
cut it off. Right.
No, I think
So it's like,
Fox played it all.
no, I heard they cut it. I cut it off, not complete as well. I don't know what you check that out. But what's interesting is they want to tell you what they said. They don't want you to see it directly from the source. They want to then tell you what to think after what you didn't see.
Because they
And so that's
think
really,
you're stupid.
no,
They
they know you're stupid. And that's why they continue to do this, because 70% of the people still believe the media. Now, I think a lot of people who are all about Kamala Harris is because they like that hopey feel good thing
Yeah,
that Obama had back in the day, right? Yeah, we brought out the first black man president. Yay.
because they're
Who
fools. They're fools.
aside from race, he was a horrible president.
You can't
Uh,
name a single policy of Kamala Harris's in
they're
the
not
more
listed
than
yet. They're
it's
not
more
listed.
than a
And I
month.
actually voted for Obama in 2008 because I wasn't going to vote. I wasn't going to vote for McCain.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
was a
like McCain
loser.
at all because I was anti George Bush and how they were, and how Dick Cheney and how they were doing. So I was like, I'm not going to vote for McCain. I go, this dude. See, there was not enough information about this random senator from Illinois to really know what was going on yet, because a lot of that information
Mhm.
hadn't been out. But
It's
then by
been
2012, you knew.
It's been more than a month since she was installed, since the coup in the White House. They kicked out Joe Biden and put in Kamala Harris. She's not given a single press conference, hasn't answered questions from the media, and she's hiding. And
Yeah.
now they're trying to rewrite the terms of the debate that she gets to bring notes. Really, is that who you want running our country? Somebody that doesn't know what they're doing without having notes in front of them? Come on. Come
You
on,
know what?
man.
Are they going to give her Chat GPT also? Just let
Right.
her just. Is she going to run America with Chat GPT?
She's trying to
Now,
get out of the debate, but I'll tell you, if
yeah, it
that
worked for
is,
Joe. It worked for Joe. Joe was in hiding the whole
yeah,
time in
right.
2020. Dude, he literally was like, it was 3 p.m. He put a lid on his day.
Mhm.
He didn't. He had, and when he did have people, he had like a couple dozen people showing up, and they were in big circles spread out from one another, right? And just the illusion. And so he didn't do a lot of press. So what they've learned from the Biden campaign, they're trying to put it on her, and really I think both political parties should just be smashed into smithereens, and then do something where we have like 5 political parties where actual voices can be heard, because voices aren't being heard right now. Dude, RFK wasn't even allowed to be
Mhm.
in the Democrat Party, their whole system.
Well,
And
if
they,
you'll
oh
go
no, we gave it to
listen to the
Joe.
whole talk, he details exactly
Yeah,
what happened, and it should make you angry. Should make
yeah.
you angry. All right, let's get back to news because we got
No,
some
I'm
stuff
going to
to
vote for the
cover.
woman with the vagina. I don't know if she has a vagina. It is 2024. I'm not even sure what a woman is, so I don't know why they're pushing that.
So apparently, there are three Bitcoiners in Puerto Rico that got together and got to the campaign and had conversations with the Trump administration, was able to get into his group there and helped to orange pill him on
Yeah.
Bitcoin so that he has a basic understanding of what's going on. The three people are Amanda Fabianco, who is the shadow chief of Bitcoin miners, Tracy Hoyas Lopez, a former California prosecutor, and David Bailey, CEO of Media Group BTC Inc. And this is a great article. You guys can go read all the details about how they did what they did. But Tracy, who you see if you're watching the video on the left, Aaron, former producer Aaron, knows her, met her at an event, and I believe we're going to be able to get her on the show to discuss this and maybe get some inside
Nice.
baseball.
Very good. Yeah. So it looked like David Bailey had been talking with the Trump administration, and then reached in and connected the other two to bring him in
Hmm.
to the conversation. And so, well, Bailey's the one I think who runs the Bitcoin conference, and so having that conversation with him got him to speak at the event. Obviously, crypto is a big thing. I think we have another article sometime. I don't know exactly where it is in the show notes, but how crypto and the youth is going to sway this election. So if one side is pro crypto and wants to set things in place so innovation can happen, then that's going to be good for the future of our country. If one wants to stymie it and shut it down and not allow crypto and shut down the banking abilities to on ramp or off ramp crypto, and then shut down innovation. I mean, Kamala Harris was talking about having Gary Gensler be the head of the Treasury. I mean, come on, like that. It's as crony as you can possibly get, and I don't see how most people can't see. You know why? Because most people don't really pay attention.
They're not paying attention. And face it, there's a lot of people out there that are completely ignorant. If you go, like, there's interviews of people at the DNC, and there's a lot of people that went out there and said, "So, what's your favorite policy of Kamala's?" And they're all like, "Well, all of them," and they can't name. And they ask, "What has she done?" And they can't name a single thing she's done. And I'm going to myself, holy
well,
cow.
They have interviewed some really dumb people. I've seen those interviews, and I think a couple of them seem to be mentally handicapped. And they're like,
no, I'm talking like normal, regular people. And they think that and then they're confronted with it, and then they have nothing to say. If you ask me, what are Trump's policies? I can go on and on. And go on and on about all of them. There's so many things that he's covered. What do you want to talk about? Immigration? You want to talk about reproductive rights? You want to talk about the economy? You want to talk about wars? Gun control? I can go on and on about all of the policies that he's.
The one policy I know that she said was like in her first 100 days, she'd really like to make sure that she can take our guns.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that sounds like
not
a good policy. And then also Tim Walz is like, freedom of speech is not necessarily should be a thing. Like, okay, great. Right. Wow, that sounds awesome. Thanks, guys. And then we want to price control your food. Like, okay, then how is this not happening?
Here's the piece about pro crypto youth could sway key battleground states, especially in Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan. Youth participation rose 14 percentage points from 2016 to 2020. 51% of eligible individuals under 30 cast ballots. Like, if you're into crypto and you want crypto to thrive, then it's a no-brainer. The crypto community, there are still people out there, though, that, I mean, I just saw a tweet from Andrew Yang, who I wouldn't call crypto community, but he was a candidate for president. And he says he still doesn't think that Trump is the best path forward for our country. An idiot says what? So communism is the best path forward? I can't even conceive.
This is the bad politics podcast today. And our biggest piece of news, let's just go ahead and hop over this because we are already running pretty deep on this show.
We'll just hit these up really quickly here. Bitcoin ETFs, $250 million in net inflows, highest since July, after Powell signaled a potential rate cuts coming. And
that's actually a huge event. There was only 250 people invited to this thing. Mm-hmm. And so a friend of mine said, "Hey, would you be interested in going to this?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to Bali." But oh my gosh, apparently there's only 250 people that go to this thing, but they're all like super, they're all like super big people in the space, in the financial world. I mean, you saw Jerome Powell talked about his the public agency and the wanting to loosen monetary policy there. Mm-hmm. And so really it is, they says the time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear, and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on incoming data, evolving outlook, and the balance of risk. Yeah, we saw what happened with Japan just last month. So it's time to do some things on that. If you want more information, go read the notes on that.
Yeah, all the articles in the show notes at badco.in/740. Here's the big story for liberty and freedom. Trav, take it away.
Yeah. So just a couple of days ago, the Telegram CEO, creator, Pavel Durov, was arrested while going into France on his private plane. They literally got him right on the tarmac and arrested him, sent him to jail. Why? Because he's not bending over and giving access to all the information within Telegram, right? And so here are the charges that they've said for him. They just was released. So webmastering an online platform, enabling an illegal transaction within an organized group, processing pornographic images of minors, distributing pornographic images of minors, acquiring, transporting, or selling narcotic substances, organizing fraud, offering unauthorized tools or data, making available tools or data designed to access or damage automated data processing services. It's non-compliance with authorities, refusing to provide information or documents necessary for lawful interceptions, intent to commit serious crimes, laundering proceeds for organized crimes, providing unauthorized cryptology services, ensuring confidentiality without a certified declaration, providing cryptology tools for without declaration, and importing cryptology tools without declaration. So he's got all these different crimes up against him, and this is just crazy to me. And so this is what this reminds me of, Joe. I saw this tweet from Sean McGuire on Twitter, and it said, "Imagine the year is 1994, and Vince Cerf and Rob Kahn have just been arrested. Their invention, TCP/IP, is being used for drug dealers to communicate with each other, and they are unwilling to install a backdoor." This is the exact equivalent of what just happened with Telegram.
Yeah.
They don't want to install a backdoor to the powers that be, Joel, and the powers that be really love their backdoor, especially Mccrone.
It is very spooky, and people are going, is Elon Musk going to be next because of X? And so there's a lot of leaders in the space that are saying they're waving, the red flag here. Elon, RFK, Vitalik, Tucker Carlson. This is important, gang. I hope you understand the severity of what's happening in the world right now. And once again, this is why, if I can't vote, I'm Puerto Rican now, so I can't vote anyway. But I hope that my American friends will get the vote out so big for Trump that it's too big to steal. That's the key. Because if these people are truly communists, and they appear to be, because everything they're saying is out of the communist or Marxist handbook. So when people tell you who they are, believe them, then don't think they won't pull out all stops to make sure they win this election, whatever.
This is a multi-generational play. We're reaching the final act of a multi-generational plot. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go back to the plot all the way back to the 1800s, and you can read the plot. You can see it's basically, how they want to set up the 3 world wars, how this is happening, how we want to do this, how we want to set up the banking systems, how we want to get rid of this, create Israel, have a World War III. Like, we're in this place. The Bolsheviks are still in charge, man. Like the Bolsheviks that took over Russia in World War I. Like the descendants of them, and the ones that have been propagandized and indoctrinated over time, were the people who think socialism is the best way. The ones that are promoting it the most are the cronies that are going to have it the best. There's only what ends up happening in socialism and communism typically is the elite class have it amazing. They're like kings and queens again, right? Yeah. It's like they're like the lords and all that. And everybody else suffers, and so they
like this guy right here. Francis Mccrone denies Pavel Durov arrest was political. He said, "I have seen the false information regarding France following the arrest of Pavel Durov. France is deeply committed to freedom of expression, and communication, to innovation, and to the spirit of entrepreneurship. It will remain so." Blah, 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 blah. He's getting destroyed on Twitter. Totally ratioed.
Guess what is going to dry up for France because of this? Tourism.
Yep.
People aren't going to go to France anymore. France, dude.
In fact, I'll tell you what, we were planning on perhaps going to the Loire River Valley to see chateaus next year. And I'm totally rethinking. As much as I love France and I feel bad for the people, right, who are going to suffer as a result of this, but totally rethinking about going there now, because this is nonsense. This tyranny cannot stand. And so what happened as a result of that, Trav, is there have been cyber attacks targeting French government websites. Ooh la la.
Oh, man. I don't think they thought that one completely through. right? Because that is true. So the crypto community, and the thing is that the crypto community loves Telegram. As you know, you're listening to the show. People
Right.
love Telegram. It's huge, and I don't know how many different groups that I'm following on there now. Now, I used to really hate Telegram until I discovered I could make folders,
Yeah, it's
and
gotten
then
better.
actually it's like now I can actually use it effectively, because before it was like, dude, I had 200 some odd groups that I'm in, that's in, and then those are all automated and updating. So I don't even look at that channel anymore. I look at my DMs one, I look at my coin research
Mhm,
one,
mhm.
bad crypto projects and partners one, right? So I have and the news one, and then some alpha ones. So I just kind of divide it, and that makes it a lot more friendly. Now, if it's a private channel, people can't come in and read it, right?
Nope.
And I think that's part of the problem is what, because the European Union kind of sucks anyways at how they are against people saying
It
things
doesn't
that they
kind
don't
of
like.
suck. It totally sucks. And multiple
Yeah.
French government websites have had denial of service attacks believed to be linked to a Russian hacker group, including the Administration Court of Paris, the French Health Department's website, the Court of Cassation page, and Cointelegraph was unable to access sites at the time and received warnings that the sites were not secure. So the
Yeah.
people that are capable of doing so are fighting back. And I mean, is it just a matter of time before they arrest Elon Musk somewhere? I mean, he travels a lot.
Don't go to Europe, don't go there. Yeah, I think that I saw a list. It said, remember Parler? Did they
Yeah,
shut down Parler because
yeah,
they didn't like the Trump was, and they just shut it down? Like, how is that freedom, just to shut down somebody's company you don't like? And
right.
that was in 2020, right? So that happened, and now we're going Telegram happening. Okay, next up, they want to get Rumble, most likely. They want to get Twitter. What else? What other projects are out there? They already
They're
got.
probably going to go after bad crypto. I mean, let's
Oh my
face it, we're so big.
god,
We're so influential, and
so influential.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not. They're not coming after us. Well, they're going to come after anybody who opposes them if they do succeed in taking over the government. I mean, they're talking about crazy things. They're talking about stacking the Supreme Court, adding a bunch of justices so that they have a majority. And once you have that majority, you can do anything you want. Like
Yeah.
they will. There's no turning back from that without. Well, I won't say it here because I'm not going to incite anything, but
Yeah.
you know what
Well,
happens,
I think we're all thinking it. Like, what's the breaking point, right?
right?
I mean, like, what's the breaking point? And I think that we'll get there sooner than later, unfortunately. And I just think this, like, dude, it's going to be so crazy in October and November, and it doesn't matter which side wins. The other side's going to be so pissed because of their indoctrination and their the way the media or their news outlets have shared it with them. They're going to be pissed. Either one wins. If Trump wins, the left's going to be pissed. They're not even going to see how it was possible because, Kamala's polls said that she was going to win because they're lying,
Right,
right?
right.
And then if Trump loses and Kamala wins, then the right's going to be pissed off. And have you seen the show Peaky Blinders? You haven't
Yes,
seen that.
yeah.
You have?
Hmm.
So he made a comment in season 6, and he goes, when you go far enough left and you go far enough right, they end up meeting in authoritarianism, right? And it's like a big circle. And he goes, and I'm right here in the center. What's that? I was like, dude, that's how I feel. I'm like right here in the center. And then the far left and the far right are meeting over here and creating this authoritarianism powered by technology, fueled by corporate greed. And dude, it's like a modern day left right combo authoritarian dystopia they want to bring
I
in.
think Travis, we should have the authoritarian polka or something. We need to create an AI song to wrap up this week's episode, and
The
that's what we're going to be
authoritarian
doing.
assets.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for joining us, and be of good cheer. There are a lot of good people out there. There are more patriots than not, and we're fighting the good
Dude,
fight.
let me say that. Let me add to that. That's one thing I was going to say.
Yeah,
It feels more friendly to be a supporter of Trump this time around,
it is definitely.
doesn't it?
It's been made okay now. After being
Because in
shamed.
2016, it was not good.
I was a
2016,
Nazi. I was called a Nazi. I'm a Jew. I was
Yeah,
called a Nazi by people who I thought were friends.
yeah,
And at some
yeah,
point, I might return to Facebook and share my thoughts on all of that. I don't know,
yeah,
but it was horrible.
yeah. Well, it's so crazy, and realistically, because I had read I had read an interview and then I watched a video about the guy Robert Cialdini, the guy who wrote the
Yeah,
book on
influence.
influence.
Hmm.
He was sort of a secretive advisor for the Hillary campaign, and that's how they came up with the racist narrative.
Hmm.
Was he says, well, let's just call him a racist. And then if you look at his history and how he's worked with historical black colleges and all these different things that he's done for his employees, and even the stuff that he did with his TV show The Apprentice, and like it just didn't make any sense. And then how Oprah loved him until it's like all the left loved him until he decided the left was going too far, and he said, "Look, I guess I'm going to go over here Republican because what you guys are trying to do is not working out." And so it's just crazy. And then I called Robert Cialdini on it back in the day, and he immediately blocked me. Immediately, I just made one comment to him. I go, dude, amazing how Robert Cialdini can say Trump's a racist and advising Hillary, and then now everybody thinks he's a racist. Great job, Robert Cialdini. Blocked.
Yeah, you're out. That's a shame too, because I recommend his book to a lot of people. So,
He's a dick. Screw that guy. He's on the wrong side of history.
yep. And you know what? And it's okay, gang. If you're one of those people that's like, man, I can't believe I bought into this. It's all right. Welcome back to the fold. Honestly, we are the people are not the enemy, right? I believe evil is the enemy and people get led astray by evil. I think all people were created in the image of God and were intended to be good, but many people have been tempted to do things that are harmful and bad and wrong and selfish, and they are tools of evil. And so, anybody can be distracted by bad persuasion. It happens all the time. We believe
It's happened
that are
throughout
true.
history. I mean, I've been to the Czech Republic in Prague, and I've seen the medieval torture museum. You see the medieval torture museum, and you go, "Wow, how could people do that kind of shit?" Dude, I guarantee you that many on the left, if they had the opportunity to use some of those medieval torture devices on people that they think are Republicans and are bad Trump voters, they would, because they feel justified in it, right? And so they get justified in their evil. Why did all the stormtroopers in Star Wars go out and kill all those nice people on Han Solo's side, right? Because they were indoctrinated. And it is so weird to me now. We're in a space where you in all these movies you always side with the resistance, but if you're a Democrat and a leftist today, you're clearly siding with the evil empire, and they don't even realize it. You got Luke Skywalker at the DNC talking about how great the Democrat Party is. It just shows you how jaded the evil empire is. The evil empire is so good, so effective at what they do, that they can make you think that you're the resistance when you're actually the empire.
Right. You know what? I remember seeing Star Wars in the theater when it came out in 1977, and I can say this honestly and sincerely. I never liked Luke Skywalker. So screw that guy. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Coming up here at the end of the show is the authoritarian tango. Enjoy it. We'll catch you next week, and stay bad.
In a world where the rich play their games, an oligarchy, but we don't know their names. They dream of a red flag from east to the west. Global communism, they think they know best. Oh, they're the unit party with their fancy ties. Democrats and Republicans telling us all lies. They vaccinate our asses, indoctrinate the masses. But this shit can't last, let's put them on blast and smash. They say they're for the people, but it's all a show. Indoctrinate the plebes, baby, here we go. They promise us the moon, but give us the shaft, while they're stealing our future with a maniacal laugh. Here comes the Uni Party with their suits so fine. Democrats and GOP, they're all in line. Vaccinate our asses, print cash by the ton, but when it's time for our share, they leave us with none. They talk of unity, but it's just a scam. A uniparty anthem without a single fan. They steal from the poor while they dine on steak, leaving us to wonder for whose freedom's sake. So here's to the oligarchs in their ivory towers, counting their cash while we working for hours. We'll sing this song with a fist and a sneer, so do your part and vote Trump this year. They say they're for the people, but it's all a show. Indoctrinate the plebes, baby, here we go. They promise us the moon, but give us the shaft, while they're stealing our future with a maniacal laugh. Here comes the Uni-Party with their suits so fine. Democrats and GOP, they're all in line. Vaccinate our asses, print cash by the ton, but when it's time for our share, they leave us with none. They talk of unity, but it's just a scam. A uniparty anthem without a single fan. They steal from the poor while they dine on steak, leaving us to wonder for whose freedom's sake. So here's to the oligarchs in their ivory towers, counting their cash while we working for hours. We'll sing this song with a fist and a sneer, so do your part and vote Trump this year. Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.